Hello and welcome. You're listening to
Hurry! The movie is starting podcast.
My name is Richard, and welcome. Hope you're having a good day. It has been a pretty good Sunday for me, not gonna lie. But I'm not here to brag about how good a day has been. I'm here to talk to you about life. Life. The great gift of life. But this one's gonna be pertaining to a certain person, a certain Chuck. Because today we're gonna be pre-gaming the movie The Life of Chuck. That was terrible. That was absolutely terrible, but I'm going to keep it. That's the intro. That's done. It's done. Anyways, this movie, Life of Chuck, is a movie coming out that is rated R. It comes with a runtime of 1 hour and 50 minutes. And also, randomly, I feel like we don't expect this in movies that aren't like superhero movies. It has a post-credit scene. So we saw it earlier in the year with during Sinners that they did have a post-credit scene for that movie. Now we get another movie that's not typically known for having post-credit scenes. So interesting to see that. So stay during the credits for that. The plot of this movie is a life-affirming, genre-bending story based on Stephen King's novella about 3 chapters in the life of an ordinary man named Charles Krantz. Now on paper that doesn't sound like too exciting, but hold on, let me hype you up. Life-affirming. Now you might be asking, what is life-affirming? What does that mean? What does that mean? It means that it focuses on the positive aspects of life. So, movies such as Pursuit of Happiness, Yes Man, Forrest Gump, banger, Shawshank Redemption, another banger, and the classic It's a Wonderful Life. Movies that emphasize the positive aspects of life. So, we know we're getting a movie that's going to be inspiring. And it's also a genre-bending story based on Stephen King, who we know for his horror movies, but he also did Shawshank Redemption, so he's not just isolated in that group of just horror, because that was a great story, a great movie, Shawshank Redemption. So we have a life-affirming movie and a genre-bending story that is Stephen King, not in the horror genre, and the director Mike Flanagan of this movie, he has done like horror movies too, so it's like a horror director with a horror writer, but not a movie not about horror, and it's about an ordinary 3 chapters in the life of an ordinary man named Charles Krantz. So clearly it doesn't sound like any like psychological horror going on in this movie either. So we have like just these 3 random elements that are fused together and they create The Life of Chuck by director Mike Flanagan, who you might ask, okay, what did he work on? He worked on The Fall of the House of Usher. Now, when I wrote this down, I was like, is it Usher like the singer? But I'm starting to think it's not specifically about Usher the singer, but I digress. I've never seen the show. That's a TV show he worked on. He also worked on Midnight Mass and The Haunting of Hill House on TV aspects, which Haunting of Hill House was a surprisingly solid watch. And the movies he's worked on is Dr. Sleep, which is in that Glass trilogy, Hush, which was an amazing, simple yet complex horror movie. Like one of those situations where like on paper you're like, oh, that doesn't sound like that enticing, but then the production of it and just the projection of it to us turned out to be something really fantastic. I believe that's where the girl was deaf, and then there's like a guy just like trying to kill her, but you also see him in the background a lot with her not being able to hear because she's deaf. So yeah, that is a frightening concept if you actually think about it. But that's the movie Hush. He also did Ouija, Origin of Evil, which I did not hear anything great about that movie. But it's funny to ironically see but it's just ironic to see a horror director working with a horror writer in a life-affirming movie showing us life is precious. I mean, if you think about it honestly, they're showing us, so in horror movies, they show us life is precious by like escaping from the person that's trying to take that away from us. What if the plot in this movie is they're showing us how precious life is, but without having to survive like a killer? This seems like it's going to focus on just those little positive things in everyday life that just magnifies, that are really meaningful, but sometimes we just cross over them. So it's just an interesting thought. Next, with the cast of this movie, I hope you're sitting down because there's a solid list. Tom Hiddleston leads off the cast. Last time we saw Tom Hiddleston, do you remember what he was in? Was it a show called Loki season 2? Because that was amazing. I don't know if you've seen that, but I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen, a lot of people have seen Loki season 1 but have not caught up on Loki season 2, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have greatness right there. You have a good cry, a good feel good, a good just happy moment of life knowing that something that beautiful exists, and you can have that for free at any time by watching Loki season 2. Um, but that's the last time we've seen Tom Hiddleston in anything, I believe. We have Jacob Tremblay, no relation to Ethan Tremblay. We have I'm sorry about this. Chiwetel Ejiofor, Karen Gillian, she's in this movie. Mia Sarah, she's in this movie. Mark Hamill, freaking Luke Skywalker, aka the Joker, is in this movie. David Dastmalchian, aka Late Night with the Devil, he's also in The Dark Knight, but like he really showed us what good talent he had in that movie, as that was like his first time as a lead character. So he just really, he's becoming like one of my, like when you notice he's in a movie, it's like, oh nice, I like seeing that guy. Like it's one of those affirming things. But last but not least in this cast, and there's a lot more cast in this, but these are ones I highlighted. Matthew freaking Lillard. Bro, Matthew freaking Lillard, he's back. Shaggy is back. Let's go. We get Shaggy in a life-affirming movie. It's gonna be good. I don't know if Without a Paddle counts as a life-affirming movie, but that's a good movie. That's another good movie you should check out if you want. That rounds out the cast, and it's gonna bring us to the leaderboard. The leaderboard for last week, which is gonna be the top 3 movies domestically in the USA during May 23rd through May 25th. We have a new number 1. So if you recall, last week, Final Destination Bloodlines was number 1. They have fallen over to 3rd place with 19.3 million. Not bad. Second weekend. I mean, 19.3 is still like solid. I don't know where they're at in terms of like the money made, but 19.3 on your second weekend is not terrible. I mean, it's not great, but it's not terrible. It's definitely no Sinners. Sinners was like, I think 40 to 60 million their second week. But anyways, number 1 now on this list is Lilo and Stitch at 146 million. That's a great opening weekend for a live action movie, which I've only been hearing negative things about these live action movies. But then I'm seeing like $146 million worth of people are going to go watch these movies. So it's just interesting, the things that we hear, and then the actual action that we're seeing it on. Like, how many of y'all are going to go watch Lilo and Stitch and going to be like, oh, I can't stand Disney live actions, but yeah, I'm going to watch Lilo and Stitch. Like, you are paying them the money. You are the part of the 146 million. But anyway, I have not seen Lilo and Stitch, and I don't think I'm going to. I have also heard like not bad things about it, but I don't know. Anyways, that's number 1 on the list. Number 2, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, 64 million. And number 3, as I said it earlier, Final Destination Bloodlines falls down 2 spots to that 3rd place. That is the leaderboard for the weekend of May 23rd through the 25th, the last weekend of May, because yeah, today is the 1st. But that was the top of the weekend. This is the top of the 2025. Did we get any changes in this leaderboard? I'm going to spoil it for you now. Yes, we did. But we're still sticking with number 1, being a Minecraft movie remains at the top of this leaderboard, top movies of 2025, at a total of $421.5 million. That's crazy. That is an uptick of plus 3.6 million from last week. Sinners, still at number 2, with 258.8 million, which is an increase from 14.2 million last week, which is really good, because that's like a 10.6 difference from Minecraft. So they're going to start closing the gap, because there's it's over 150, I believe, 160. It's about 160 million away from Minecraft, which I don't think they're going to catch Minecraft. So we might have a solid 1-2 for the rest of the year. But you won't have to worry about this number 3 catching up to number 2, because this is Captain America Brave New World. And as you know, once a movie release is no longer in theaters, it can no longer get money at the box office. So Captain America Brave New World sticks at number 3 with 200.5 million. But they are watching over their shoulder, because after 1 week, we have a new number 4. Lilo and Stitch drops in on the 4 spot at 182.6 million. So sorry, Captain America Brave New World. You enjoyed 3rd place for a good solid couple weeks. It ain't going to be there much longer. And then at the last of the pack, Thunderbolts at 174.4 million. So they've already, in 1 week, already have been passed by Lilo and Stitch. So Disney wins again. Disney beats Disney. But a good sign for Thunderbolts is it had an uptick of 14.9 million from last week. So they're still getting double digit amount of millions worth of people going to the movie. So still a good sign. However, not the good sign. The sign that has been removed from the top 5. Rest in peace, Mufasa. This time it wasn't Scar. It was Thunderbolts and Lilo and Stitch. Rest in peace, Mufasa has now fallen out of the top 5. So that is a movie I will probably never mention the rest of the year. But that is just the leaderboard. Going into the top 3 letterboxd of the week, we got Mission Impossible, which, it just came out. You're going to see that there. I'm assuming we're going to see, Lilo and Stitch is also there. This next one, I would have never guessed. But it is Fear Street Prom Queen, which is, I think, a Netflix horror show anthology. I don't know. Someone mentioned to me at work about it and kind of sparked my interest. So I'm definitely going to check it out. But it's cool to see something that's like not mainstream trending. And that was the number 3 on the list. But that's the end of the leaderboard. Let's just dive into why you're really here. Some fun facts.
Fun facts.
So fun fact number 1. This is Mia Sara's return to acting since 2013. After doing a brief little amount of research on that, it seemed that she just stopped taking roles because she wanted to focus on being a mother, and that's incredible. That's just great to hear right there. So congratulations to her. Good to see her back in this movie. So this is about 12 years later for her. We had a 14-year in Death of a Unicorn, so like it's cool to see these actors that haven't been like out in a while come out, and like good to see them going back to form. Fun fact number 2, movie is based on a novella from Stephen King's If It Bleeds collection and short stories. So yeah, it is based on Stephen King's novella, which is a Spanish version of a novel. That is definitely not true. Don't listen to that. But yeah, just the 2 facts for this one. So we have the fun facts has been kind of dry a little bit lately, but it's okay because we're getting some fun facts from the comment section, which is my next segue to the comment section.
The comment section.
All right, let's read some comments. Let's see what we got. First comment comes from @triple-thrice. From the heart and soul of is a neat spin on the usual from the twisted mind of. And they're referring to Stephen King from the heart and soul of, like Shawshank and Redemption, just like those uplifting movies. So it's a funny take on that from the heart and soul. That's a good observation. And it's just funny. Like, this is just one of those things that on paper you'd go like, whoa, this shouldn't be good, but it probably is going to be because it's not supposed to be. But it honestly, like, if you've seen the Secret Life of Walter Mitty, it looks kind of similar to that, which that was another life-affirming movie, but it kind of like bended the constraints of our reality throughout. So that was another solid movie, but I'm hoping if it's anything like that, then it's going to be enjoyable. Because I always, like, after you leave a movie like with positive feelings and just uplifting and just motivation, it's one of the best gifts ever. And to be able to like just watch that and feel it from a movie, that's a 10 out of 10 in my book. Next comment comes from @ScottSullivanTV. Good on Neon for highlighting the non-horror movie adaptations of Stephen King's work to set expectations the right way. Right, someone will see Stephen King, someone will see Mike Flanagan, they'll be like, oh, this is a horror movie. All right. But no, they tell you in the trailer, hey, this is going to be positive and uplifting. If you're expecting someone to get killed, just the only person that's going to die in this movie is sadness. Okay, that was a little cheesy, but whatever. @Kellen Quigley says, if Flanagan could just direct every King adaptation from here on out, that would be fine by me. Yes, Flanagan has a consistent, like, looking at his like IMDb and his like scores for the things he's created, it seems like he's gotten more success through the TV side of things rather than the movie side of things, but he clearly has his following as seen in this comment. Next comment comes from @Christian Perez 885 said, saw this back at TIFF last September, which for those of you who don't know, TIFF is Toronto International Film Festival. Yeah, I googled that. You guys have no idea how moving and devastating this movie is. So boom, Christian Perez 885 saw it last year at the Toronto International Film Festival, or TIFF for the normies. You guys have no idea how moving and devastating this movie is. So that's just positive affirmation right there. Boom. I mean, that could just be a paid advertisement. That can be an actual person. That can just be a bot. But I mean, it's not a bad thing. At Delmfin 2026, Mike Flanagan plus Stephen King plus Tom Hiddleston equals cinema. Yes, those are three pretty good things. And while I still am hyped for Stephen King's Dairy TV show, because I love like the clown of Pennywise, I'm just hyped for that too. So it's good to see Stephen King out here with Tom Hiddleston and not a horror movie. At Brian Alkerton, caught this at TIFF. It's phenomenal. And this trailer doesn't come close to spoiling the joy of experiencing it for the first time. See, that's beautiful, dude. That's just it. It's hyping me up now. I'm getting hyped up. I'm getting hyped up. It sounds like we're going to go into this movie expecting greatness, and we're going to leave with a smile, which is in itself a piece of greatness. But at S. Faye says, while I purchased Stephen King's works on the day of release, it occasionally takes me a while to work through my TBR pile until I can read the new one. I started reading this particular story during the summer of 2023. It was a tough read. It was also very personal. Too personal. I actually had to stop reading the story for a long while because my wife, my immortal beloved, was dying of glioblastoma at the time. My life in 2023 was making sure my wife was okay and comfortable for whatever time she had left. On December 10th, 2023, she joined her Father in heaven. I miss her every day. I finally read The Life of Chuck in late 2024. It actually made me happy. I got to be in this world with her. Oh my gosh, that's a good one. That's a good comment. Wow. I guess you don't really expect comments like that, like in movie trailers on YouTube, but then you remember like what the movie is going to be about or just portraying, and it makes us realize this thing called life is a lot more precious than sometimes we give it credit for. But at Koth E Hawk -PPPP 13 says, "Oh my G, there is something so touching about this 1 minute trailer. We need a full trailer, and I can't wait for this movie. Tom Hiddleston is a great actor who plays complex characters with interesting stories. I have complete confidence in him. This movie is going to be amazing." Yeah, you can't go wrong with Tom Hiddleston. This guy is like, it's funny that he came, like, he kind of exploded from, maybe he didn't, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I remember him exploding from like after Marvel. So it's kind of funny that like launched him into like just us realizing like this guy is very talented, because he has absolutely demolished it playing Loki. Like 10 out of 10 for me. At Fatima Al-Shamis 5793 says, "It's so good to have Tom back on the screens." That's what I'm saying. Also, how great would it be for them to release the Loki like last 3 episodes on the big screen? That'd be cool too. I'm just saying, movie theaters, get it started. At Dame Meepier says, "This movie is so incredibly moving and beautiful. Mike Flanagan is incredible." Yeah, dude, I feel like this comment section is going to be one of the top 3 reasons to go watch this movie, because everything's good. Let's finish it off with this one. At Screen Age Wasteland says, "Neon giving us a 1-2 punch of Stephen King this year. Bonus points for The Monkey and The Life of Chuck being so radically different. I can see us rewarding both at our annual awards ceremony next year." Boom. Great comment to edit on. Great comment section. Again, you never know what you're going to see in the comment section. I'm glad to see it all being like positivity and just uplifting stuff. Unfortunately, there's some scenarios in that comment section that was not like the happiest of moments, but to be able to see the bright side in a dark situation has always been such a superpower in this life. But that is the comment section. We're almost done. We are almost done here. The top 3 reasons you should go watch this movie. So, top 3 reasons you should go watch The Life of Chuck. Number 1, it's the first time we're seeing Tom Hiddleston since Loki. Yes. And if you had the experience that I've had after that ending of that show, this man is a top tier actor. But that's just number 1. Number 2, Mike Flanagan has consistently been solid. People love his work, and his IMDb average from his last 5 movies are 7.4 stars, which, if you want something to compare, Christopher Nolan's last 5 movies have a current average of 7.8. So he's only 0.4 away from Christopher Nolan in the quote-unquote batting average of fantasy score of directors on what we rate their movies. So that's not bad, because Christopher Nolan is like a master at his craft. So to be that close from him with just shout out to Mike Flanagan. So we get this guy who's like up and coming, has a consistent score, similar, a little close to Christopher Nolan. So that's a good comparison. And then we're pairing him with King, Loki, and Shaggy. Why wouldn't you want to go watch this movie? But it's not going to be because you don't want to heed this number 3 reason for going to watch this movie, why you should watch it. What does life-affirming mean? It's something indicating that life has value, positive and optimistic. Sometimes we get bogged down by life and we don't appreciate this life. We forget that it's actually like a gift. We're not promised to wake up in the morning. It's just a gift we get to receive. And when we stop taking that for granted, not to get too philosophical, but these movies often remind me of the beauty we've kind of covered up in our lives. And I don't think it's intentional. It's just something that happens in this busy thing we call life. But those are the top 3 reasons I think you should watch this movie. I'm going to watch it. There's your number 4 reason. I'm going to go spend money on this movie too. So, hey, let's go spend money on it together. Speaking of money, we came into this week on the over-under 3, 3, and 1. So we've had 3 correct, 3 wrong, and 1 tie. Bring Her Back comes into this. That was the last movie in the podcast, and it had a line of 7.2. And I said over on that line, so I'm going to check it right now for the first time in forever. It is sitting at a 7.7. Boom. All right, so that is a live look up on a win right there. So now the record is 4, 3, and 1, because it is sitting at a 7.7, which is 0.5 over. Hey, not too shabby. Don't forget, this over-under will come into play later on in the year, but I'll get into that when it's later on in the year. And the season ends in December. I gotta save the gifts for then, right? All right. So the current IMDb rating only has 775 votes. Is sitting at a 7.5 out of 10. 775. Okay, so the over or under for 7.5 out of 10. Bring Her Back. I knew it was going to be a banger. We have the Philippou brothers back again after they killed it with Talk to Me. So you knew that one was going to be good. This one, people are saying it's going to be good. It's coming from the mind of Stephen King. It's coming from the direction of Mike Flanagan. I think this is going to be good. And if Bring Her Back can get 7.7, this is easily going to get over 7.5. I think this is going to be a 7.9, 8.0. I think these positive and uplifting movies inspire us to give better ratings sometimes. So it's gonna go over. So I'm gonna put that now over. I'm projecting at 79 to 80. All right, so that is the over under for next week. Also, got new mics in. Got to test that stuff out, and then I'm gonna be setting it up for my first segment. So again, you're still gonna be getting these pre-games once a week or whenever, when applicable. Sometimes there's gonna be months where there's not really anything coming out. It's going to be hard to pregame something I don't want to watch. So this new segment coming out is going to be fire. It's going to be a cool segment where I'm kind of gaining other people's perspective and just talking movies with y'all. And I'm excited for it because I love talking about movies. I would love to just learn things and perspectives from movies that I didn't initially pick up. Because, after watching a movie I really love, I'm Interstellar. I just watched it for the first time. All of my YouTube history is researching this movie and just learning fun and interesting facts. So to be able to just talk to people about that kind of stuff, it hypes me up. So we're going over 7.5 out of 10. I'm projecting about 79, 7.9, 8.0. But that is the end of the over under. That is the end of this podcast. I think this is going to be a great movie. I am going to go watch it. I think it's just going to be one of those movies that we might cry some happy tears and just some tears of just this thing we call life can be beautiful. And sometimes it takes us seeing it from a different perspective to be able to see it from our own perspective of our own life. So I don't know, just food for that one. This is a really fun podcast for me to talk about because this week has been kind of rough. So I just want to say thank you for stopping by. Thank you for listening. I do truly appreciate you for all your support. It's fun because I never thought I could have my life where it's at right now, and it might be the smallest of things, but just talking about movies with people and just seeing like connection through that is like, it's crazy to me. Yeah, thank you for coming, thank you for stopping by, thank you for listening. God bless, and don't forget,
Hurry, the movie is starting.
good night, y'all.